Yes, we had a discussion in our last class.
Tuples.
Tuples. Okay. So what happens if I use a keyword called t is equal to tuple of some string? Is the screen visible, guys?
Not yet, sir.
Yeah. So let me ask you a couple of questions of my previous class before let's get started. The tuples are immutable, true or false?
False.
What do you mean by false? That means you can
Yeah, they are
change.
mutable. Yes.
They are mutable. How many of you agree? Can you just put it on a chat window? How many of you agree that tuples are mutable? Say yes on a chat window, or just say it's mutable on chat window. So mutable means like you can change, you can replace the element, you can assign a new value to the
Oh,
element.
immutable, sir. Immutable.
You want to change your answer to immutable now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So
Tuples.
Sricharan, tuples are immutable. That is how it's getting discriminated from your list. It is just like your strings. The characters of strings cannot be changed. Either you have to build a new character, new string of new characters. Okay, so let me just switch to the slide because it's taking some time. My Jupyter notebook. Let me just switch to the slide. Those who have answered immutable, it's correct. How about the rest? Taking a nap, still sleeping? Is the screen visible? The slide visible, guys?
No, sir.
Slides are visible.
Yes, sir. Now it's visible.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just go to the tuples. So this is what we were discussing in our last class. So tuples, it's a sequence of values, much like a list. And tuple can be of any type, and they are indexed by integers. Tuples are immutable. So these are some basic properties of tuples. Tuples are also comparable. This is very important, very important, because since this has got the property or the characteristics of comparison by default, by nature, you can just include the comparator operator between each tuple. Okay, and syntactically, a tuple is a comma separated list of values. Just like you can see here, t is equal to character a, comma b, comma c, comma d, and so on. It is a tuple. So what happens here? If you see, to create a tuple, I include the comma here for and each element of the tuple. If I say type of T1, it says tuple, whereas without comma here, you can see T2, it would be a string. Here with comma, the same character, with comma it would be a tuple, without comma it is a string. So we have another way to construct a tuple using the built-in function called tuple. With no argument, it creates an empty tuple. T is equal to, if I use tuple, it creates an empty tuple. If I use some input argument, suppose if I pass some string, as you can see here, I have passed a string called lupins inside the tuple function. So it prints the list of elements of tuple. I can use the bracket operator to fetch the elements, but you cannot replace the element. Understand? T of 0, you could see here, T of 0 is equal to L, T of 1 is equal to U, and so on. I can try to use the indexes of the tuple to fetch the elements of the tuple. I can also use slice operator, just like your list and strings you have used. I can use a slice operator. Say tuples are immutable. You cannot modify the elements of the tuple. Suppose if I say T of 0 is equal to A. So in the previous class, we have verified this. We have verified this result on your compiler. T of 0 was equal to A. It did not replace this element of tuple. Why? Because it is irreplaceable, or it is immutable. Okay, so instead, as I said, you can replace one tuple with another by creating a new tuple. Understand? You can create a new tuple. You could see I have a new tuple called T is equal to, the first character is A, plus this concatenates two tuple plus T of one all. One colon means one from the first element, all the elements inside the tuple, which creates a new tuple. So it's not you're going to replace or change the elements just like in the list, but you're going to create a new tuple just like in the new string. So Python comparing tuples, Python starts comparing the first element from each sequence. See here, 0 less than 0. Please understand this concept, comparison of tuples. 0 less than 0, since these two elements are equal, so it will go to the next comparison. 1 less than 3, it is true, right? And 2 less than 4, it is true. So understand, if you have the elements of the tuple been equated, if it is equal, it will verify with the next elements, next consecutive elements of each tuple with the comparator operator, and if it is true, you will get true. Okay, so this comparison of the tuple, 0 less than 0, this is equivalent, so it is not compared, it will go to the next element of the tuple. 1 less than 3, it is true. Immediately one, even a single element is compared successively, it will be resulted as a true. Say if I take this example, 0 less than 0, since it is equal, so it will go to the next element. 1 less than 3, immediately it verifies any one of the elements, successive element is verified with respect to the operator, it is true. Though you have the third element as 20 lakh or something lesser than 4, this is false. In spite of this condition, since this was true already, right, since this was true already, you will be given as true. I repeat, though the next successor element is false, since it was predecessor, the predecessor element of the tuple was true, lesser than 3 was true, So further, it will not check with any of the elements inside the tuple. Once it is find true. Suppose if I try to replace these two elements here, then it would have been made false immediately. Okay. So I'm going to sort a list of words from longest to shortest using tuples. Uh, Let me go switch to the Jupyter file so that you'll have a better idea of understanding the concept. Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Is the classwork window visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So let me try to clarify my previous example, which was a comparison of tuple. See here, if I say I have two tuples, the first tuple is having a value 0, 1, 2. I use a comparator operator lesser than, and I try to compare 0, 3, 4. So, and this would result in true. This would result in true. Whereas if I say 0, 1, 20,000, 20 lakhs lesser than 0, 3, 4, and this would result in true again. Why? Because the first instance, the 0 is compared with the 0 of the another tuple, and since those two elements are equal, it will go to the second element, 1 less than 3. It immediately says true. Why? Because this has already been compared. So the tuple comparison is always element by element, element wise element. If one of the element is true, it will not go to the next successive element. So here in this case also you'll get true. So when it is false, so if you try to reverse the order, you will generate it as false. So if I say 2, now you could see, okay, even then now again you have true. Because why? Because this element is becoming true. So you have to reverse this order also. So I shall make this as 1. Now you would get 0 less than, okay, this should be 1 second. This was 2 and this was 1, this was 4, and now I will make this as 4. Can you see here? 0 is compared with this element 0. So it will go to the next element 4. Lesser than 3, it says false. It will not verify with the other element, successive element. 1 less than 4 was true. But even then, it goes sequentially. Sequential operation of comparing the elements of tuple. Whichever comes first, so that would result in a conditions. That would be resulted as true or false. What is the answer for this, guys?
False.
False, sir.
What is the answer for this?
True. True.
Good. Why? Because 1 is less than 2. What is the answer for this?
True. False.
It's true again. What is the answer for this?
False.
Good. Because 1 and 1 are equal, so it will verify the second element. 8 less than 3 is false. Immediately it will say it is false. What is the answer for this?
False. True.
True, sir.
True.
Okay. So, how about this?
False.
How about this? Again, it is false. Okay, fine. I think you guys are good with respect to the comparison. Why? Because I'm going to use this comparison operator and trying to find the longest or shortest words in tuple. Okay. So now I'm going to have a list of words. Okay. I'll have a list of words and I'll try to sort them from longest to shortest. In this example, I'm going to sort words from longest to shortest. Let me just take a string. I have a first line of from your text file. So this is the first line of your text file. I'm just copied it. And now what I'll do, I'll split this. So let me split this. We can verify what is there in words. So this words is nothing but the list of words inside a string or inside a character. And then what I do, I will generate an empty an empty list. I'll create an empty list because I need the list with a word along with its value from longest to shortest. So I'll generate the list. So now I will take for word in words. So what do you mean by word in words? Each element inside this list, right? So words is a list. So I'll go iteratively. So for word in words, so what I'll do, I will append to this list t dot append. Understand, t dot append. That means I am appending the elements to the list with respect to length of the word. Understand, length of the word, comma, the actual word. Any difficulty in understanding this part of the program? I am going to append this list with the length of this word here. Can you see this length of this word, comma, word itself. So it will be just length with word. In the first iteration, it will be but3, comma, the same word, but. Okay. Now, if you want to see what happens with the list, you can say print here. What happens at each iteration? At each iteration, it will take the length of the word, comma, word itself, and it will append it as a tuple to this list. Understand, guys? It will be a tuple. What happened? It exactly takes one argument. So, any problem here, guys? So this should be a tuple, right? So this should be in a bracket. Should be inside a bracket. Right? So I would say rather if I use tuple here, can you see here? This is a tuple, length of word, comma, word. This is a tuple. And I'm going to append this inside the list. Now this becomes list of tuple. If you can see, in the first iteration, I have a tuple which is a length of word. Length of word in first iteration is length of BUT. It is 3, comma, word itself. It is a string BUT. Likewise, in the second iteration, it will go to SOFT. It is second word. Length of SOFT is 4 and the word itself. So it will generate, it will create a tuple. Create tuple of length of word, comma, word. Correct? It will create a tuple of length of word, comma, word. And it appends to the existing list. So now the list becomes a list of tuples. I would say, what is this T now? T is nothing but I would print T here. Let me print T. So what is this T now? So it is a list of tuples. Now, since tuples can be compared with its elements, what I'll do, I will use a dot sort operator. So I say T dot sort. I'll use a sort operator. And I say reverse is equal to true. What do you mean by reverse is equal to true? Reverse is equal to true means it will be from the shortest to the longest, from the longest to the shortest. If I don't use anything, it will be from shortest to longest, ascending order. Just understand it's an ascending order. If I say reverse is equal to true, it says it is a reverse order. That means it is a longest to shortest. Longest to shortest. If I say reverse is equal to true. Now I could see T dot sort reverse is equal to true. What will happen? Okay. Just I'll suppress this, print T so that you could see S. So this is the list of elements or the list of tuple which I'm going to generate, where the longest word, don't worry about the order. I've already told it is unorderly. So it's the longest word to the shortest word. And again, it is a list. Guys, understand it is a list. What I want to do, if I want to print the word, right, I have to arrange the word. So let me just, because it has been asked, sort the words from longest to shortest. It is still pending because you have still kept it in a list. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a for loop. Before I use a for loop, I'll create a list, an empty list. Then I say for, understand, for length, comma, word. What do you mean by length, comma, word? Length, comma, word in T. So every time you have two elements inside the tuple. So T is a tuple, correct? T is a tuple. So I have two elements inside the tuple. So I am assigning length for the first element and the word for the second element in T. Let's see what happens if I say print length or print word. Is it print word? So every time it prints the word inside this tuple. See here, the length is the first element, word is the second element. In the first iteration, I am printing the word, that means it is printing yonder. In the second iteration, it is printing window. Can I append this list with this word? You can append it. Say you can replace this. Instead of saying print, I will say res dot append. That means it will append this word to this list, this empty list, and say print T. Sorry, print result. Okay, I'm just trying to fetch this word because I had a tuple of list of tuples, but I wanted only the words, the list of words from longest to shortest. So what I did, I repeat, it's a very simple program. I have a text. I will split this text string into a list of words. Then I will create a tuple of list of tuples. So this is list of tuples program part. For word in words, I'll create a tuple. Tup is equal to tuple. Tup is equal to length of word comma word. So now this becomes a tuple. And I will append to this list. T dot append of tup. You print this, it would be a list of tuple. Now I created a list of tuples. Since tuples, elements of tuples can be comparable, I've used T dot sort. I've just simply used T dot sort. Reverse is equal to true from longest to shortest. Correct? T dot sort reverse is equal to true from longest to shortest. I just verified whether my tuple, list of tuple has been sorted by printing that T, and it has been verified here. The result which you see here is list of tuple from the longest word to the shortest one. Now I want to extract only the word from this tuple. How to extract? Length comma word. See here, length comma word. This is nothing but a tuple variables. I call it as variables. Earlier you were using only one element in for loop. Now I am using two elements. Each represent each element of the tuple. Okay, and I'm going to fetch only this word from the sorted list of tuples, only these words. Okay, and then I'm going to append this to an empty list at every iteration. Fetch this, append it here. Fetch this, append it into an empty list, and print list. So this will be your final result. So how to sort words from longest to shortest using tuples? Now understood. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Good. So always try to understand the program part by part. And again, I am telling you, this is a creativity or a motivation or a challenging or a perceived or perception based learning of programming. You can have your own perception, you can have your own creativity in writing the program. Even all these things can be reduced. All these things can be reduced. One or two lines is sufficient to sort my text from longest to shortest words. But this is a very detailed way of understanding the programming, and the rest, it all depends on your creativity, how effectively you create a program or how efficiently you write a program to sort a particular problem, given problem. Okay, so I hope you understood this now. Let me see the tuple assignment, because I've already used this tuple assignment in for loop. So this is a tuple assignment. Directly, I'm trying to assign the variables of a tuple to the elements of the tuple. Here I have a tuple with an elements, and directly to these variables I am assigning. Otherwise, how would I assign a variable? Say tuple assignment. It's already discussed. I'm just trying to revise it on a separate concept or on a separate subheading. Suppose if m is a tuple, m is equal to, so okay, so suppose if I say m is an list like this, x comma y, m is equal to x, I have one element and I have second element. So now I can easily assign this list of elements, right? I can easily assign this list of elements. How do I assign this? If I say x comma y, oh, sorry, let me just take another example, because in the textbook it's given something like this, have fun. So x comma y is equal to m. So what happens? to X. What is X, guys?
Have, sir.
X is M and Y is M.
Sir, this one. One apostrophe.
So you have X. X is equal to first element of the tuple and Y is equal to the second element of the tuple, right? Y is equal to the second element of the list, sorry. So you can see what is this type of Y. You see type of Y is string because you have taken the list. Okay, now if I say but if I say X comma Y is equal to M inside a bracket, so this is pretty interesting now. X comma Y inside a bracket. So now what is X? Sorry, what is X? X is equal to have, but what is type of X? Here again the type of X is string, right? Again the type of X is a string. So it's a very important, very clever operations. Both sides of the statements. Here we use a tuple on the left side of the assignment statement, but on the right side it is a list. So this is a tuple here in the left side of the statement. I can use this. Okay, I can assign an element of the list to a tuple here. Let me take another example. If I have an address like this, addr is equal to monty@python.org. So this is an address. Suppose if I say username, comma, and a domain, because this consists of two characters. One is username, the second one is a domain. Correct? One is username and the second one is a domain. Python.org is a domain. Is equal to, can I use a split here? Addr string dot split where? At the at position. So I can easily say, boss, split this address where you find at as the first element and the second element. The first half is the first element and the second half, that is at the right hand side, is the second element, and assign the first element, first half, to the first variable and second half to the second variable called domain. It's a very simple assignment. So the return value from split, guys understand, is a list with two elements. Correct? Is a list with two elements. If I say, okay, if we just run this program, so now if I say uname, it is the first character which has been split, and the second character after at, it is the domain. Right? I can see here, this is a tuple. Basically, this is a tuple. Why? Because uname, comma, domain. See here the brackets. Understand? Very important. It's a common brackets. Now, if you place this inside a list,
Bracket for that, it will become string. No, sir.
yeah, that is what I am trying to say. If you put square brackets, it is a list now. So here, this is a list. If you allow, because here I have not used any brackets here, right? I have not used any brackets here. So this behaves as a tuple. So this is what you need to understand. And I cannot change your username and domain here. Understand? That is why I am using tuple. I cannot change this Monty to some other value. But in list I can change. Okay. can use this for to understand username and domain where I am going to use. In our previous class, we had split the list and we have mentioned at string and we have mentioned toString. Do you remember? We have done a lot of exercise in order to locate that at string and then try to segment out a particular group of string or a particular string, interested string. At position, I hope you remember. ATPOS, STPOS. Okay. So here in tuple, it's very simple. You use address.split where you want to split that particular string and then assign it to two variables, and obviously it is the first element is assigned to username, the second to the domain name. Next, since we have understood tuples and dictionaries, we shall try to understand dictionaries and tuples together. Things becomes very easy for me if I use dictionaries along with the tuples. So dictionary have a method called items. Guys, understand dictionary have a method called items that returns a list of tuples. Suppose I have a dictionary D is equal to A 10, B 1, C 22. So this is a type dictionary. If I use D dot items, if I am trying to perform a method items on D. Okay, what is item here? What is an item here? It is a key value pair in a dictionary. So now if I say D dot items, and if I say T is equal to list of, okay, fine. I'll just say D dot items and say D. Okay, D dot items, say D. Can you see this? I have the same values because it is printing D, because it's printing the items. Now if I say T is equal to list of D dot items, is equal to list of D dot items. So what is the result? It returns a list of tuples where each tuple is a key value pair. Where each tuple is a key value pair. So here it's a list of tuple where each value it's a key and a value. If I simply say D dot items and if I assign to A is equal to and say let me say type of A because that would give you more meaning. So this is a dictionary items. It's just a dictionary items, correct? I use list of D dot items and say print it. Always try to complete the statement, guys, because here I'm just trying to run in shorthand just by typing the variables, but you have to say print while answering. Print T, as you should expect a dictionary, but here the items are in no particular order. It can be of any order. Since I always say it's A, 10, B, and C. This becomes to be in alphabetical order, but in real time, when you have more data, when you have a large amount of data, this can be of any order. You call it as an hashable. However, the list of tuples, again, it's a list, and tuples are comparable. Guys, understand, tuples are comparable. We can now sort the list of tuples. You can also sort this list of tuples. Just say T dot sort. So it arranges automatically. T dot sort without any input argument and say T. Since you had already ordered list of tuple, so there was no correction made to the earlier list. Suppose if I say reverse is equal to true, then you could see some changes here. It would be in a reverse alphabetical order. It would be in a reverse alphabetical order. So that is a new list of tuples again, and then reverse alphabetical order. So now if I try to use multiple assignment with the dictionary, so I'll be using multiple assignment with the dictionaries. Again, I'll take an example, the same example here. B is equal to, I have a dictionary with 3 items of 3 key value pairs. Can I use for? Guys, can I use for key comma val? Key comma val are the variables. Can I say in list of b dot items? Can I say like this? Just fast. So what happens here? In each iteration, the first variable is assigned to the key value, and in the second variable is assigned to the value of this item inside the dictionary D. So that is why I am taking this list of D dot items here. Since I was knowing priorly that I had 2 variables, or it's a value of key value pairs, I will be having 1 key and 1 value. So if I say print this, I'll get print. In each iteration, it would be addressing to 1 item with key and a value. Okay. So again, there is no particular order. It can be of any order. We call this technique as an hashable technique. So what if I want to display a list of a sorted list here? If I want to sort this list in a reverse order with respect to the values, how do I write a program? Suppose if I want to construct a list with the value and key tuple in a reverse order. Just saying I want to generate a list, something like this, list 22 comma C. Okay, let's just copy this result. Suppose if I want to generate this kind of a result where first requirement is it is a list of value comma key. It's a list of value comma key and it's a tuple, correct? It's a list of value comma key in a reverse order. So think about this program. For the same dictionary, I want you guys to print a result like this. You can print here like this. It is already there. And I have sorted this with respect to what? The values. But here I want with respect to value comma key and reverse order. Here I did a programming where it was sorted in a, oh, what happened here? Okay, here. So it was sorted in a reverse order, right? It was sorted in a reverse order with respect to the key values. Reverse alphabetical order. Now I want you people to sort with the reverse order of the values in a descending order. So write a program which generates this output for this dictionary. This is the input. This is the input. And I want this as an output. Correct? Write your program. So this is a small homework. You may do it in a tea break. Use the same here, just reverse the order. It will become val, okay, key comma val. Here it will become val comma key. That's it. That is the simple answer. Val comma key, and just try to create a list and reverse that list. That's it. Okay. I want this particular result. Okay, guys. So that's all about today's session. Thank you for attending this session, and if you have any doubt, just let me know. Since there was